Welcome to year 2 of Blerd Lines podcast. In year 1, we expanded the team and realized that we want to do more than just podcasts. So, let me reintroduce ourselves as Blerd Lines Media.
So let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Captain New. You can call me Cap, New, or you can just call me Perry, which a lot of people do.
Hey, it's me, Greg from Dadpad Gaming.
Hi, my name is Lady Gunner, and you're watching Disney Channel. Just kidding.
It's your boy, Demigod Sean. So who is Demigod Sean? Well, I am a avid video game player. Love anime, love sci-fi, just in general.
Lady Gunner is a female gamer that is slightly competitive. Slightly competitive by I rage and yell until I win.
I'm a dad. I'm a gamer. I love anime. I love technology. It's some of the things that brings me peace after I got out of college, playing baseball. And it's one of those things that I truly enjoy. It allows me to be myself.
Simply put, I'm a full-time dad, full-time gamer, someone who's always willing to help out, someone who's always willing to share an opinion, even when opinions are not needed. Sometimes that gets me in a little bit of trouble. Sometimes it makes friends. So take that for what it's worth. Favorite game? All right, so someone's gonna yell at me, but there are actually 3.
Right now, my favorite game is Destiny. It actually has been for the last, I want to say, 8 years or so. Why is it my favorite game? Simply because the community is amazing. The content is amazing. The story, even the story that you get outside of the game when it comes to lore and things of that nature, amazing.
And these are all attributed to me being a gamer as a whole. I'm going to say Metal Gear Solid, as it is the game that showed me what video games could actually be as far as storytelling goes.
If you know me or know anything about me, I will have to say that Bloodborne is by far my favorite game of all time. I've played that game at least 15 or 20 times, and each time I just keep falling in love from the environment, the world, the balance of characters and NPCs, and of course, Fashion Souls.
There is Sonic the Hedgehog, which is a game that helped me to fall in love with the idea of exploring gaming. And I am also a platforming extraordinaire, if you did not know.
Complete them. My favorite game is Mass Effect, only because Mass Effect introduced me into the world of video games where you can make a choice, and your choice has consequences, and it can affect the outcome and the decisions of your story friends. Mass Effect 2, if you choose not to help your friends to do their storyline mission, they all die. Or you can pick who to pick. You can pick who to romance. Like, I just love the choice, because it's almost like it's a story, but it's almost like life. Like your choices have consequences.
And lastly would be Street Fighter. I'm not gonna give you like which Street Fighter. They're all important in their own right. But Street Fighter, see, I'm wearing a shirt. Street Fighter is a game that helped me to fall in love with the competitive aspects of gaming. I have vivid memories of being in my big cousin's room, sweaty and stinky in there with all these teenage boys, and me being like 6 or 7, calling out, "I got next," waiting for my turn to get wrecked by a bunch of teenagers that knew all the moves while I was mashing. True story, none of those cousins that are older than me want the smoke these days, so pretty awesome.
One of my favorite animes of all time, and why? I will have to say Yu Yu Hakusho, if you know me. I love Yu Yu Hakusho. It has always been one of my favorites. Yusuke Urameshi was one of those characters that I related to as a young man. I always wanted to fight. I was a delinquent. I was always into something, but I stood tall to what I believed in. One of my favorite scenes, episodes in Yu Yu Hakusho was Chu versus Yusuke in the Dark Tournament arc. In that scene alone, it was just, Kuwabara said best, I cannot stop them. This is poetic. Those are two men standing in the ring with nothing but their fist.
My favorite anime is Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer, because I don't know. I love Inosuke. I love Tanjiro. I love the art. Like I'm terrible at drawing, so I think that's why I love the art of it. Like just the fire breathing moments, the rain moments, the water movements, Zenitsu with his electricity speed or lightning speed. Like I just love all of that. Like, and the anime is slow, but I love the anime. Like my favorite anime is Demon Slayer. I'm finna get my whole arm tatted in Demon Slayer characters.
My favorite anime, if you know me, this is really an obvious one. It's actually Avatar: The Last Airbender. No, I'm just kidding. I know it's not really an anime. It's actually Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And the reason being is it's actually becoming, I guess it's at the age where it's becoming a bit of a classic, as far as like time goes, but it is timeless in the respect that in that show, not everything is what it seems. And when the show starts, the people that you think are the villains are actually trying to essentially save the nation. And it's one of those shows that the perspective the second time through is wildly different once the story has kind of like blown the roof off. And the characters are amazing, and anyone that knows me knows that I love a good written female woman character. I love them. And Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is a story full of strong women that don't fall to the traditional tropes of anime fan service. So I love that. I love it.
Be Death Note, and the reason that I picked Death Note is because the level of cerebral activity placed in that anime is amazing. Like how the main character goes from wanting to be this godlike kind of Masonic or Messiah-like figure to end up being, you know, what he ends up being at the end is completely left field. I thought the character development and all of the characters, supporting characters, were really, really amazing. So I think that would be my favorite anime. My favorite movie, some people are going to hate me for this, but it's going to be Zack Snyder's Justice League. And the reason that I picked Zack Snyder's Justice League is because of the kind of groundwork that was built into making that particular movie. The Joss Whedon movie is a whole other thing, but Zack Snyder's actual vision, his complete vision that released on HBO Max was undoubtedly amazing to me. Seeing Superman in the black suit, getting to see all of the Justice League together, getting to see Darkseid, getting to see Uaxis. I think that movie deserves a lot more credit than what is being given.
Ones that always stand out to me is Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Again, I love a really good female protagonist. And Beatrice Kiddo is a badass in every right. Also, a movie that I discovered this past year, 2022, because it came out in 2022, is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a really, really awesome film. Recommend you guys check it out.
One of my favorite movies, I'll have to say, is 300. 300 is easily one of my favorite movies of all time. Funny story, reason being, my little cousin Gigi, she was sick. I think she was around 2 or 3 years old. And I came over to babysit her. My baby, every time I come over, I'm with big cousin Nick. I don't need anyone else. She would travel with me everywhere. I was in middle school, going to high school. She would go with me everywhere. So this particular time, she wasn't feeling too well, and she would just lay on the couch. So I'm like, 300's out. I really like the movie, so I'm gonna sit here and watch it. I promise you, she woke up and did not move.
My favorite movie is Mulan. I love Mulan because it's like I got the song on my phone, but he was like, let's get down to business. Did you send me daughters instead of sons? And she proved everybody wrong. Like, y'all thought she was a boy the whole time. She was a girl, and she could do the same thing a man could do. Like, you didn't need sons, you need daughters. Like, you need everybody. But the fact that she came out there and proved everybody wrong, and then everybody looking like, oh, it's a woman. Yeah, and she did it too. A fictional villain I can relate to. I don't really like most villains, but the one I would say I like the most is I'm so cringe. Lady Gunner is cringe sometimes, but the one that I like the most is Eren Yeager, because at the end of the day, Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan is still a hero, but he's also like, he pushes everyone away to do the right thing, to do to him that he perceives is the right thing, even though he's hurting the people around him. He's still looking for peace, even though he's being a jerk about it.
Which fictional villain do I relate to and why? So there's a couple, but the one that stands out to me most is Magneto. Because, like Magneto, sometimes Magneto understands that you've got to get your hands dirty sometimes to achieve your goals. Perfect example. My dogs are back there wrestling. I don't want them to wrestle. Hey, go. Go. Sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty. And Magneto is the prime example of that. Like, he's not necessarily, while he's done some outright evil shit, he's not necessarily a evil person in all entirety. He has goals, he has aspirations, he has ambitions, and he wants to get to those by any means necessary. Sometimes, if it means peace, he'll follow Xavier to get that done. And if it means by force, he's going to get it done. I just believe that any great leader knows when to follow, and Magneto embodies that.
Villain do I most relate to and why? For me, I think the villain that I most relate to is Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. Why? Anakin is very misunderstood. He's kind of a late bloomer, which I feel like I was a late bloomer when it just came to like social anxiety and kind of developing myself. So we kind of have that kind of bit of I guess relation, you know. I identify with Anakin. I identify with Darth Vader because he really just wanted to keep people safe, and unfortunately he didn't really understand the boundaries between, you know, light and dark, and trying to kind of embody both of those at the same time, but leaning more towards the dark side, right?
Fictional villain, others too. If we're talking about young me, I will have to say Kid Buu. Just because I was pure destruction. I was into everything. I wanted to just fight and challenge everyone. Not for the power, just to see if I was stronger, just because it was just something to do. He is my play style when I play fighting games. I like berserk characters because I tailor to that type of mentality. But if we're talking about now, my more cerebral side of my villain arc, I will have to say Aizen from Bleach. If anyone has watched Bleach, you will know in the first arc, Aizen was the secret villain pulling all the strings. I was a fan of that from the very beginning. He challenged the status quo of what the Soul Society is. I will have to say Blerd Lines to me is a safe haven for me to be myself.
A place or kind of a status quo that allows individuals to kind of cross the fence, into the anime realm, into the manga realm, into video games, and all of those kind of nerdy type things. We chose Blurred Lines, in my opinion, because it's for Black nerds. Not to say we're trying to make it exclusive, but we want to bring it out to a point where, there are still kids at school who get laughed at for doing the Naruto run. I was one of those kids that did the Naruto run. I was one of those kids that charged up in recess, for Dragon Ball Z. I was one of those kids that, when shit hit the fan and it's me against a bunch of kids, I'm imagining myself as Goku or one of those main anime character MCs that just takes on more than what they can chew and ends up coming out on top.
BLP to me is like close relatives or family, like your best friend you haven't saw in a while, like you haven't, like, not everybody hang out with their best friend every day, so you don't hang out with your best friend every day, but y'all don't talk every day, but you can see your best friend and be like, hey.
If you know anything, I came from a toxic situation, which I did learn the name Cap from another community, in which this here in Blerd Lines came here, where I was able to heal. I'm extremely grateful for the individuals here. I started off with me and Dab had, and he really took the helm and allowed me to heal myself from the past group that I work with. Not saying that group didn't give me the strength or taught me anything. It was just one of those, I had to leave and I had to come here and heal myself. And this place allowed me to grow and get into my lane as far as doing what I wanted to do.
Kids that grow up in that same type of light, who are interested in anime, who are interested in computer technology, who get called, nerdy and stuff like that in school. I think that this is a nice platform for them, so that they are able to, be themselves.
BLP can be a place where you can express your nerdy side. Like, not a lot of minorities or colored people. I just found out this Hispanic person who likes anime, but people in
but like I said, especially in those high school ages, I've been a gamer all my life, and some of this attributes to that room again that my big cousin was in. And in that room, he was older, and I looked up to him. And on his Super Nintendo, on his Sega Genesis, he might be playing Street Fighter or Madden or the Gargoyles game or Final Fantasy. There are so many different games that he got into, and by proxy, I got into, and even my older brother to a certain aspect. And from that, he was the first adult that I ever knew that was into Dragon Ball. And those were things that, as a kid in the 90s, I thought was cool as hell. But I noticed that he could do things with me and my brother as his little cousins that he could not do around the other cousins of ours that were his age. And as I got to the high school age, I kind of realized why. It's because, it's very hard to be in an inner circle in a Black community, like the cool kids crowd, and also be a fan of anime, be a fan of video games that aren't like 2K, Grand Theft Auto, Madden, Call of Duty. And I found myself in so many situations where I wanted to play a video game and I wanted to hang out with my friends. And it was cool if we were playing some 2K or some UFC or even some like fighting games sometimes. But if I wanted to just kind of chill and maybe play a single player game while people are hanging out, we're just chilling, or if I wanted to maybe pop on an episode of, I don't know, what would have been hot at the time? Maybe like Inuyasha or some shit, I don't know. It'd be like, yo, that's that weird shit, bro. Cut that off. To me, Blurred Lines represents that intersection and blackness and nerdiness where you can be the biggest hip hop inspired cool guy that you want while also blurring the lines of what's expected of you to enjoy comic books or anime or those weird video games that aren't really weird. It was like Final Fantasy, or maybe it was, I don't know, the Witcher or Infamous. Like, you know, like these are games that people find to be weird when they are on the outside looking in. So to me, it's about accepting all facets of nerdiness with blackness and understanding that you can be a nerd and still be black and not have to worry about having your black card revoked. Because, you know, I love anime, I love video games, but I love a little ratchet shit too.